Do you guys ever have the realization that you're not nearly as tough as you thought that you were when you were a younger individual?
Oh, I'm a bitch. Like, I don't have any like, unless my wife's life is in danger or somebody I care about, there's zero chance I am fighting anybody ever.
Yeah, I mean, you used to be the guy that used to love getting into fights. Yeah, and now that's just not you anymore. But there's like a scale. Like, not wanting to fight people, I think, is still like fairly high up there for like, okay, I could fight somebody, but I'm electing not to because there's no upside. Mm-hmm. Either, if I win, I'm probably going to get a bunch of charges pressed against me. If I lose, then I just got my ass kicked.
Or, there are, at this point in life, Dave, the reason why I quit hockey at 30 years old and picked up golf is because we get injured now. These are injuries that are with us forever. These are forever injuries now.
I love hearing men talk about this kind of stuff. Oh yeah, I totally could. I could have fight.
I would have. Yeah,
if I were to, continue to fight, if I needed to, I could.
I could certainly do that. Yeah.
I could totally beat up everybody.
It's just like, I quit hockey for the sake of my knees. But if I hadn't, I probably could have had like 3 or 4 Stanley Cups.
I love it. Because I don't know if there is that for women, but perceptually, like being a woman and always hearing men kind of like have the fight talk, because it's a kind of common thing that I hear men talking about, whether you guys realize it or not. Like, we'll beat that guy's ass. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, for sure, bucko. But
so let me just give you, like, again, we're talking about fighting and athletics and stuff like that. I'm gonna take it down like 10 steps here. So I'm trying to like improve my eyesight, and I was thinking about, am I a candidate for LASIK and all this stuff? And so I went to this place where a guy, like does LASIK, and he's very, like great reputation.
Just
all
a guy?
That stuff. Well, he's a doctor. Yes, he's a doctor.
Just a bro, some guy
in his backyard.
He's got a laser bought off Amazon. He does some inscribing on like one of those
like on
chef
a Stanley
blocks.
Cup. Oh.
Live, laugh, love. On a butcher block.
You guys done?
Dave calligraphy
All of
on
him
your
does
eye.
eyes on the weekends.
So he's a doctor.
Okay.
That also happens to be a guy with a laser that he bought off Amazon.
A cricket.
So I go to him and I'm like, hey, am I a candidate for LASIK? He's like, no, not right now. He's like, they may have to do like the lens replacement. That would be a few years down the road. And so he suggested contact lenses.
Oh, no.
And have you guys ever worn contacts?
I won't. I can't put stuff in my eyes.
Back in the day, and for the same reason, and I haven't worn contacts since I was a kid, but it was because they were always getting lost in there. And I'm like, that's gross. What do you mean I've got to pull it from my tear duct?
So I've got an unnatural fear of contacts. Like I was always glasses before I had LASIK done like 15 years ago.
So I love things in my eyes, so I didn't have any problem with it. I'm kidding.
What?
Good for you. I'm glad to know that about you. Thank you for feeling this was an open enough space for you
This
to
is
share
a safe
that.
space, right? Yeah.
Gross.
As you guys mock me for calling a doctor a guy. It's so safe.
But he went to school for like 12 years, man.
Okay, of course he's a doctor.
Okay.
I thought that was implied. He's an eye doctor. That's what he does.
Okay.
But so
Optometrist.
he encouraged me that, hey, like now is not the time to get LASIK. Right. Maybe that's a few years down the road type thing. But we would encourage you to get contacts because, it'll help to train your eye a little bit. It helps your eyes to relax. So I went and got my first pair of contacts yesterday.
How did that go?
Terrible. I mean, like I could put them in and take them out like fairly easily. Like, I don't know if the guy was just gassing me up. He's like, wow, you're really good at that. I'm like, thanks, man.
You love words of affirmation.
I do. I love it.
You love getting gassed up.
He's like, it takes most guys a lot longer to touch their eyeballs than you. I'm like, I do. I'm fine with touching my own eyeballs. Thank you. But I can't see with the contacts in.
Is it the wrong prescription?
The way that the contacts work, I guess, is that they kind of slowly scale you up, or at least this is what they're doing for me, at like 25% of what my prescription is. So basically I put the contacts in and I'm just like blinded by them. Like it makes my eyesight worse than if I just don't have my glasses on. Yeah. And they're like, oh no, that's normal. I'm like, it's normal.
That doesn't feel normal.
So I can't really see that well.
So
this morning
you went to a bootleg optometrist.
No, he
went to some guy.
He's very, very good.
This guy clearly sounds like he's just some guy because that doesn't sound right to me.
It didn't seem right. And so like last night I'm sitting there and I'm watching, TV with the wife and I can barely see it because my eyes are getting worse. And then this morning is supposed to be my first day wearing contacts.
Where
and I'm
are
like, I'm not wearing them because I can't see with them. So maybe I'll put them on later to try to train my eyeballs.
Did you bring them with you?
Just stick with glasses. You've got a face that is
glasses face.
Yeah, you've glasses face.
You do have a glasses. There are people who do not have glasses faces, and you've got you look smarter. I would say, and honestly, I would say this as your friend: don't get contacts and lose the glasses because you'll look dumb.
I look dumber
Take
without.
The glasses
you look
off
much smarter.
So the vast majority.
You look smart now. You look like a guy who might be like a professional something.
You look like you could be a professor of sorts.
Yeah, you look like you know a thing or two. You take them off?
Yeah,
Idiot.
total dummy.